And now we're going to, not everyone's here, but it's 5 after, so we're going to begin. And I would like to begin not on marketing.
What?
I know, and go ahead and tell me that there's a great deal of anxiety. You feel that the course is, coming to the last part and you have no idea how to do it. And so I wanted to hear your concerns, and then I will tell you what you have in store. Oh, come on.
Concerns about like what? Like how?
Like, we've been hearing feedback that it's near the end of the class. They don't really know how to do it. How do you do a business? How do you do the marketing? How do you get patients? How do you do doodly doodly do? And
How's it all going to come together?
Yeah, how's it all going to come together?
Are we doing business stuff from this point forward? Is that planned?
You are partially. Let me tell you what's in store. This is Valium, okay? Here's class Valium. I understand. Here, would you? Thanks. I understand that you feel anxiety. I'm real familiar with feeling anxiety. But let me tell you, when we built this program, it was built in a certain way so that it was cascading toward the end. Process and science, and then science, and then science, and then cases. And we purposely kept a lot of the business stuff for the end because we wanted to make a big impression. And if we had done this before the science, it wouldn't be as fresh in your mind. Does that make sense? Okay, so today we are going to talk about your marketing plan. Last week we started talking about just generally about that. Next week and the following week, you are going to get an intensive course from a gentleman from SCORE. And he and his group have developed a roadmap for starting your business. And it's a step by step by step by step thing. And so after today's marketing planning, then you're going to get all the business, and then you're going to get financial management. And then you have 2 classes, each with a panel of established RMPAs. One is going to interact with you and bring your questions. One is going to be on setting up a business as an RMPA. And the other one is going to be, oh my God, I'm an RMPA. How do I handle all the cases? What do you do as an RMPA with a private practice? So, and then the residential, this is where all the little pieces come together. We are going to take your avatars and Suzanne's here. We are going to take you and your group and the avatars with which you've been working, and we're going through the entire RMPA process. There are going to be demonstrations. You're going to do return demonstrations. There's a tremendous amount of small group work so that we go through every single thing so you know exactly. So by the time the course is over, you will have worked an entire case. You will also, at that meeting, you will be getting all the legal. You're going to have the legal piece for 2 or 3 hours. Brad Schwartz, and just ask him. As well as you're going to get a lot of docs. You're going to have integrative nutrition. All of that is in the residential. So I understand your anxiety, but we have designed this program so at the end it's like boom. All the stuff that brings anxiety, not knowing how to set this up, not knowing all of this, is at the end, so that you've already absorbed all the science, you've already absorbed all the other stuff. Now it's rubber hits the road time.
You can launch from there.
Yeah. Does that help?
Yes.
Hey, Suzanne.
You're nodding heads.
Sorry.
Yeah, does that make sense? And this is why we've done it this way?
Yeah, I think it's great.
I'm not stressed out.
Who said that? I'm delighted you're not stressed out, but your classmates, several, we've been getting feedback, which is why we're talking to you about this right now. If anybody understands anxiety, I do.
I think it's a lot of us are kind of just the type A people, and it just seems like a lot of stuff for me personally, like a lot of things. So I feel like feeling like it's going to be marched out sounds really good, but just like reading that marketing plan, you're just like, oh, it's a little overwhelming. But I feel like knowing that we don't have to be able to do it all tomorrow is good,
No, you don't. Also, because this is
You don't have
the
to dog it.
last live class, I will be offering a program where I will help you set up your business, and I will work your first cases with you so that
We're always here.
I
I thought we were going to develop a business plan as part of this class. We're not doing that.
all the business planning.
Yeah, I thought that as part of this class, we were going to do our business.
Oh, you
plan.
are. That's the
are.
next 2 weeks.
That's an
Okay,
Maybe
good.
you weren't here when I explained.
I'm sorry. I
There's a
wasn't.
gentleman who's a big wig in SCORE, and he and his group have put together a stair step. Step 1, do this.
Yes.
Step 2, do this. And that's going to be, you're getting 4 hours of that.
Okay.
And then remembering each of your communities, they have a small business development group associated with usually a junior college that does this kind of training and education, and SCORE has people, you can sign up with someone in a similar field and they will walk you through it. If you don't do this well on your own, there are people out there in the small business organizations that want to help you do it. They have
Yeah,
sites, you
without
can meet with
SBDC,
people.
Without SBDC, I doubt I could have gotten started. I didn't know nothing. Business?
Because-
How do you spell that?
Some of these things are regional, so you'll need your local resources to give you the regional information.
So we're going to be doing the marketing plan today, which is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I know it can look overwhelming, but we're going to spend a lot of time on it today. And then the next 2 weeks are business, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then comes financial. And then comes 2 panels on different days where you get to pepper these successful RMPAs with all your questions. And then the residential. I hope that we've discussed this, Shawna and Nan and Shayna and I, and we all hope that that eases some of the anxiety and that you understand why the course is scheduled like it is. Any questions before we begin?
You had just said, Karen, that you are willing, you said, I'm going to set up a program to help you with your first cases. In
Yeah.
what capacity and are you?
As your
charging-
mentor.
Okay, you're not
as
charging.
your-
would it
Oh, I
cost
have to
less?
charge. I have to charge something. I have done mentoring for free for 20 years. I think that's enough. And, I'm not going to be doing another live class, so I will bring my expertise and knowledge for those who wish, so that I can help you set up your practice and more importantly, work your cases until you've got your feet under you and you go, okay, Karen, I know what I'm doing.
Okay, like a certain percentage? Is that how you would
I
do it?
haven't figured that out yet. I have to discuss that with people who
Okay.
know more about money than I do. Okay. And, Shayna, yeah, okay. What we're gonna do first, did all of you print out this material that was on the cafe? Because we're gonna go over that together. Did it make sense when you read this material? What, did it make sense? Overwhelming response. Yes, Karen, it was wonderful. Now, did it make sense to you?
Are we talking about the worksheet for building a marketing plan?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're going to go over that step by step now. I want your questions. Shawna, Nan, Shayna, we're here for you. We have, all been through this. Shayna said that, a lot of this stuff is new for her. And so she's going to be learning right along with you. The rest of us were reviewing. I have not done a marketing plan in a while because I was doing everything else. So it was fascinating to me to go back over this. Now, this plan was written by a woman by the name of Chris, who was a friend of mine for a long time. And she had a national marketing practice with clients like Bosch and Lone. I approached her many years ago. I said, hey, Chris, we need your help. And she wrote this. And she has rewritten it a number of times. And this works, that's all I can tell you. That's how she built her nationwide amazing practice. So let's start. Your marketing plan is the single most important document in marketing your practice. And that means you have to understand it. What was your overall impression, please, when you went through all of this material? I'm not going to speak. I'm waiting for you to tell me.
Very thorough. There's a lot of information you have to put in there from your strengths, weaknesses, the costs breakdown. It's hard to break all that down when we haven't completely researched all that yet. So that was tough because you don't 100% know what you're going to need at this particular point.
Well, we're going to talk about all that today. Okay. Anybody else? What was your impression? Yeah.
I thought it was really organized well to get my thinking cap on and get my thinking cap on in an organized manner and not all over the place, so I can focus on my situation and my services. And it made me think of things that I haven't thought of before about my business and how I want it to look. So I thought it was really, really good.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was amazing when she did it for us. It was like, whoa.
Right.
I mean, this needs to be in a book.
Also,
And
remember
nobody
that
else has this material, PS. What?
it's a liquid document. It will change over time. What you're doing in your first year will be different than what you're doing in your third year. So don't feel like it's something you do once and you'll put it away and never look at it. You're going to refine it as time goes on. So if you only got part way through this time, that's okay. You may pick it up in a month. You may pick it up after the first of the year, but this is a reasonable way to go through the strategy of thinking about how do I get myself out there and what do I want to do it? How do I want it to look when I do that?
That's what I did, because for my financial goal, I just had like 2 clients the first year and not in the red. So like, even if the black is just $1, like hopefully my 3rd year, my 5th year, my 10th year, it's more than 2 clients.
Well, I
Perfect.
think that's reasonable. And
Yeah.
somebody, I forget who, either in an email or text or something, said that I forget what she said. I was looking at this other material and going, I need to tell them. It'll come back. Anyway, so your marketing plan, thank you, Shawna, is a developing thing. It is fluid. You have to
Dynamic.
start and just keep going with it.
Mhm.
So let's do that. It's a roadmap to achieve your goals. Here's a question for you. How many of you believe that you can do this? Everybody's hand go up, come on. Do you think you can do this? You've got backup, man. I mean, I don't know how much more backup you can get, but I want to know if you think this is possible, because if you don't, you need to be talking to one of us seriously.
I feel like there's an overabundance of things to do and people to help. And I feel like this has I have so many things scattered everywhere. It's like, I just want to help everybody. And I feel like there's potential everywhere. And I feel like I need to just hone my energy into one thing and then, expand there. But I don't know how to pick that thing.
Well, we're going to be talking about that a lot. I remembered what the other person had said, and that was she hoped that by year 2, she would be able to do some pro bono. Let me tell you something. You're going to do some pro bono in the very beginning. It may be where you'll charge $50 or $60 an hour instead of $100 or $125. Make a big deal.
Maybe your neighbor, maybe your sister-in-law.
I did, in my first few years, I did a fair amount because I figured I'm learning, and these people really need my help. Let's see what I can actually do. So did I do everybody pro bono? No. I was making money. I was making enough to live on. And at that time, I was only charging $50 an hour, believe it or not. And that was back in 02, 03, 04. But so you're going to take advantage of doing some pro bono, and that will help you develop. Now, somebody had a question. Who was it? Somebody. What? No, there was a question. I think it was Rockstar. Where's Rockstar? Oh, there you are. Did you have a question?
No, when you asked who feels ready and I raised my hand, the emoji automatically went up. So now look, like it sees that and it goes up. So
How funny. It's learned us.
yeah, it learned that when you raise your hand, the emoji automatically goes up.
That's
But
gonna
all
be good for
right.
teachers.
Raising my hand that I was ready to do this.
Yeah, I saw that raised hand. I go, you must have a question. Okay. So a roadmap to achieve your goals. Once you start working on your roadmap, it's not hard. Don't try to do it in a day. That's not going to work. I think my first one took almost a month because I mean, I had nothing to build on, nothing. So it took me a long time, but
some of the other seasoned RNs recommended picking a period of time, whether it's 2 or 3 hours, once or twice a week, what you can fit in your schedule to commit to your business. And then you start going through all of these things. And if that one doesn't suit you today, you go through one of the different ones, the business ones, or making your list of I need to get insurance organized and I need to get, all of these things done. You start making your checklist to get things done. But you spend some time that you commit to doing that each week.
yeah, you're not going to sit down in one afternoon bingo, you've got your thing.
And you're ready tomorrow.
Yeah, right. It's not going to happen that way. Anyway, the areas of focus, and I know you've been over this, is situation. What is the situation? Analysis of you and everything going on. What services? Who's your target? What is this audience that you have? What is your strategy as far as getting clients? And then once you put that plan together, how are you going to do it? And then sitting back and going, well, that worked. That didn't. Reviewing for yourself. So you know what is what needs to change, what you need to improve, or what you need to do more of because it's working so well. All right, let's go one by one. Situation analysis. I'm not going to just read you this stuff. Come on. Let's talk. What is situation analysis? If you want to read what's on the paper, go ahead, but I'm not going to do it.
I think when I was looking at people's homework, that some people had a very good idea and understanding of what that is, Karen. So can't they speak up? I can name them if we want them to be, if I want to.
Is the situation analysis like basically your the demographics? You're analyzing your target demographic area and the type of client that you're looking for, and that kind of, some of that blends into service offering. But yeah, this is just basically breaking down the general, okay, how many hospitals, how many medical centers are in the area, what's the population? You know, basically you're trying to get an idea of the numbers, what your potentials are, and then what your how far out you want to expand. You know.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good review. Where do you live?
Who knows the most about that in your area? That would be the small business development centers. They have people that will crunch these numbers and send them to you in an email. So you just have to start.
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce, start sending your emails out and say, hey, I'm looking at starting a business. How can you help me? Do you have this kind of data? Do you have that kind of data? Because they'll have it all put together already for healthcare. So
Yeah,
you don't have to
chambers of
reinvent the wheel.
commerce. Chambers of Commerce are wonderful. They're going to tell you about the demographics. They're going to tell you how many people over 65. They're going to tell you how many people are chronically ill. They're going to tell you everything about your area.
Income levels, disposable income, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So that should be one of your first calls. So where do you live? And are there a lot of wealthy people or not? How affluent is the area? How many hospitals do you have? How many docks are there in your area? If you're living in a rural area, that might not be a lot. If you're living in a big city, that might be tens of thousands. You need to find this stuff out. And then here's another idea. You have done a lot of studying and learning about supplements, yes? Yes. And let's look at some of the major supplement companies. Metagenics, Zymogen, Doctor's Best, Pure Encapsulations. What you do is find out, go to their websites and write them a note and say, who is the representative of this brand in my area? And then you make friends. You meet with them virtually, or if it's safe, you know, have a cup of coffee out in the fresh air and tell them what you're doing and say, do you have a roster of physicians in this area who like your products? Because I know all about your products. And the answer, and we've been doing this for years, nobody's ever said no.
They keep track of this stuff.
Yeah. And so they will tell you, this doc does a lot of this. This doc, forget it. This is straight American medicine. You're going to learn a lot. So another source of information in this part, in this situation, is connecting with those people. So it's chamber, it's supplement companies. What else?
You could also probably do the same thing with like the different independent laboratories,
Correct.
like Igenix or Great Plains or Genova. You contact them, you talk to one of their reps. They can give you a whole bunch of data on how to even interpret the tests. They could tell you which doctors in the area are doing it.
Who's ordering?
Then you go
Yeah,
to those
who's ordering?
doctors and you say, here's my business. How would you feel if I recommended patients to come see you if they need these labs done?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Fantastic.
Lab. Anything else that you can think of to give you advance information to help you determine what is your situation. Are there any colleges or universities in your area? What are their strengths? Is it a college of nursing? Is there business, college? What are their strengths? And can you use any of them? It's amazing what student interns can do for you for free. Just remember that if you connect with a student intern in a specific topic, an MBA or BSN or Masters or whatever, if you have an intern, they have the right to maintain some ownership of the information they give you. Okay? Which is not going to impact you at all, but just you need to know that. And then, how many of you have space in your home for a home office? Shawna's sitting in hers. I'm sitting in mine.
Sort of. What you can't see.
Yeah, right. Oh, God, you don't want to see what you can't see here. Do you need an external office? I remember in the very first class, and one of them went right out and got an office and said, well, this is what I need to do. And I go, okay, I don't agree. And here's why I don't agree. Patients are not, you're not a walk-in service. You're not a drugstore. You're not a shoe store. People are not going to come to you. Why? And why is it important that you do not spend money on an external office? Because where are you going to be working?
Their homes.
Their homes and doctors' offices, hospitals.
Yeah, yeah. And then virtually, with them until COVID gets its foot off our throat.
Right. So much more important is an online presence. Trump up your LinkedIn profile and have some sort of online presence, even if it's only a front page that says, here I am, this is what I do, give me a call for a free 20-minute consultation.
And when you have a Facebook page, and we can certainly talk about this more, you're going to give all that information right there. I mean, social media is huge, and you're going to become very good at using it for marketing. Okay, so
Right, you always want that
do all of
website.
you have what? Yes.
You always want the website and your email address on your business card.
Yes.
Because they're going to want to check to see that you have that presence, or if you don't have that presence, you may not get the rest of their eyes.
Okay, Suzanne.
I remember when I first started how you actually went and talked to people in small groups. So that's kind of what I was thinking about. Like in my community is very small, and just like meeting at the library and talking to people about, what are your thoughts? Do you still
Absolutely.
think?
One of the things, go ahead, who was talking?
No, I'm just afraid. I'm just hesitant to get too big until I'm ready. Like, I just want to like kind of gradually go into it. And
All right, well, here are some ideas.
Okay.
And I think Chris mentions them a little further along, but now it's fine. You might want to go, I don't know if you belong to a church, I don't need to know, but if you do, you could go talk to your priest or your pastor or whatever that person is called and explain what you're doing, and they will pull together your first groups. I mean, they are so happy that you're bringing all of this new science and process and good outcomes, and they're more than happy to open that door. Now, here's another thing, write that down because it works.
I'm sorry, I
here's
missed
another
that.
thing. Pardon?
I missed
You ask your pastor or your priest or whatever, your faith community leader, if you have a faith community. If you don't, then you might visit the Unitarian Church, because they're wide open to all kinds of educational programs. But this kind of outreach will bring you into company with people who want to learn. Right? They're not just looking and then la, 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 and then they go home. No, they're interested. And here's another idea. Join an organization. Write that down. Right? What are some of these organizations? Nan, Shayna, Shawna.
Oh, well,
Karen.
I think I mentioned it one week, and that would be it, like there was a group in town that was women's business owners to have their own group here in Tucson. And so they meet on a certain basis and discuss their different problems, but it helps with referrals and all kinds of things. And,
Yeah,
and
for
you
the
can,
first, go ahead.
no, and that's just one example of one group that meets, because then there's other businesses that meet just for this purpose, to give out referrals to each other, and just to be known in the community. And so I think those are two good choices.
Well, I totally agree. The national, write this down, NAWBO, NAWBO. NAWBO is national. This is what Nan was just referring to, National Association of Women Business Owners. I joined immediately. I didn't even really know what I was doing yet, but I knew what I needed to do. And they welcomed me with open arms. I got a chance to do several presentations for them, and I got a lot of referrals. And I was on some of their committees. And I mean, I got active in the community, and I was active in that community for at least 7 or 8 years until I felt that I was well established and, ready to move on. But NAWBO is a good one. Anybody else think of another? Stacy?
So I was just wondering, I was looking at our Chamber of Commerce in the town that I live in, and do you recommend we just chat with them, or do you recommend that we join? Because the join's like a $350 kind of fee.
I made
Like,
that mistake.
will they just give you information without joining? How does that work?
Yes, they will.
They will.
But what they offer, if you do become a member, and I became a member and spent almost $400 and went, what the heck were you thinking? And then I joined another smaller chamber here in this area, and I got a lot from that one, and it only cost me $150. I'm not saying don't join the big chamber, but call and talk to their program manager.
Okay.
And in fact, any organization that you are considering, speak to the program manager, all right? Find out what membership brings you and what you can get without membership.
Okay.
Because they get money from the community to provide certain services.
Okay.
And you want them.
Yeah.
All right. The reason I didn't know any of this stuff. I mean, I was like, what do I do now, boss? So I went and I joined the big one, but then I found out that they had business meetings at wine bars. Hey, you want to have a drink? That's very nice. I don't believe you should be drinking and talking business. If you're there to learn, and if you're there to network, if you're there to make connections, you don't want to be doing that while you're drinking. All right. So I let that one go after a year. The other one met over coffee. Yeah, Shawna.
No.
So any other organizations that you can think of in your area that might be helpful for you? So we've got churches or faith communities. We've got NAWBO. We've got Chamber of Commerce.
Karen, I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
That frequently, if you want to do the literacy classes or you want to do talks, if you get yourself into the library network, the libraries will oftentimes pay you to show up and do a talk, especially if it meets in with a theme that they happen to be promoting.
That's a great idea. What do you think about that? The library. How many of you belong to a library? Let me see those hands. Libraries, thank you. That's a great idea. Your library. Any other ideas? Why don't you check with the chamber and find out which organizations there are in your community, and then decide who you're going to contact. I will tell you this, and I think that all, Shawna, Shayna, Nan will agree. Women make the health decisions basically in their families. So although it might be very nice to go talk to Rotary or any of them, they only give you like 20 minutes, and that's not long enough. But women's groups, call and talk to the program chairman, because this woman is not celebrated enough. All right. So you're going to call, you're going to say, my name is, and here is what National Network is doing, and I'm doing right here in our community, blah, 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 blah. Would this be of interest to your members? Make friends on the phone. How's that sound? I mean, here in Tucson, there are so many women's groups. I mean, it was a little overwhelming. What am I going to pick? But networking is essential, and this is one good way in that door.
Nancy, can you tell us a little more about the library network? How do you mean your local library, or
So
regional?
I haven't done this yet, but I was at a talk with a woman who was a geriatrician and was doing the circuit and was giving talks on more of the mindfulness stuff. And when I had the conversation with her afterwards, the way she got hooked into the libraries was she goes into the library network, registers herself there, and lists the talks that she's willing to give. And then the library goes into that network and will look and see, well, what are they doing? Who do they want? And then we'll reach out to her. And she was traveling the state doing 1 or 2 talks a week.
So do you think that each state has one? Are they county?
Yeah. So I would tell people to go to their library in their town and ask the person, whoever's there in the library, how to get connected with their library association for programs. And they should be able to tell them how to get hooked into there.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That just jogged my memory as well, that I get a lot of people coming to me through my city's senior center. So that's a good place to establish yourself.
We have a council on aging, and that's another way to meet other professionals working with the aged, which tend to be who we're heading for. And then there are healthcare professionals that you're talking to. It's not like Rotary where it's a lot of men who do insurance, but you've got healthcare professionals dealing with the aged. And once you get your name established there, then it gets transferred to other people, and you can find good inlets that way.
That's great. Thank you, Shawna. It is federally mandated that every county in the United States has an area council on aging. They should be one of your first calls. They were the first call for me, and they were like, oh my God, come in and tell us what you're doing. They were thrilled, and they opened a lot of doors for me. So area council on aging, that's a good idea. Anything else?
Yeah, the one other recommendation I can say is in one of our senior centers here, a larger senior center, they have their own office for supply, like it's like a lending closet. People can go and get walkers and but they also provide services. And so many people enter the system there because all of a sudden they need a wheelchair, or all of a sudden they need a potty next to their bed or something like that. And so there's a lot of people rotating through there that may not come in through the senior center or social services.
Yeah. I did not have a lot of success, but this is just in my geographic area. It might work for you. But there aren't that many, or back 20 years ago, there weren't that many senior centers at all. And so that was not a good open door for me, but it's 20 years later, and you see what you got going in your community. And I'll tell you something else. If you have the opportunity to speak to 5 people, big smile, Go after it. Speak from your center. Speak from your heart. Show them your passion. I mean, I have spoken to like 5 people. And you go, oh, that's not many people. No, those people all have friends and families.
Yep, they talk.
And, you know, I've spoken to hundreds at one time. So do not expect, you know, that you're always going to have a nice little number like 30 or 40. Maybe you will, and maybe you won't. And if you have an opportunity to speak to 5 people, you put on your good clothes and you go. All right, anything else before we move on?
I wrote down
A lot of areas like have a park and recreation division, right, for each city. And a lot of times, like, people sign up to give classes on different things. So you could sign up to give a nutrition class. You could sign up to give a supplementation class, you know, and they pay a minimal amount, but that's a way to kind of start having people call you and get your input.
That's a great idea. That's a wonderful idea. Any other thoughts? I mean, you've come up with a whole lot.
So oh, sorry. Yeah, if I'm looking, like, for example, I want to serve my county and 2 other counties around me. The Chamber of Commerce, there's no county Chamber of Commerce. Usually it's by town, right? So.
Well, no, in a rural area, it won't just be about a town. It'll be about a larger rural area. It depends on where you live. Where do you live?
I live in the Bay Area. I live in the Bay Area with Debbie. So busy area. So I see there's a chamber in my local town that I live in, but there's also a Chamber of Commerce in so like every other city around me.
Well, why don't you start with where you are?
Yeah.
And then gradually move out until you get the big guns. And by then everybody's going to know about you anyway. Because they talk to each other, you know, chambers talk to each other.
I was thinking about some different things that where I might find people that are already seeking health at meditation centers or yoga centers. Also our local food co-ops. We have a lot of co-ops here. I don't know if that's the thing other places, but our co-op has different talks that I've actually met some really amazing people at. And so I was going to reach out to them. I was also looking at different community centers. We have like an organic juice bar that they have a meeting hall that maybe I could present something there. And then I was also curious to see, well, I mean, Wisconsin is, we have a very big drinking culture. So I was—
Oh, how nicely put. Very diplomatic.
Considering going to Al-Anon meetings and giving talk to the families who are suffering with alcoholics.
That's a great idea. Look how many ideas just in what, 20 minutes, half an hour that you've come up with. Creativity. Our inpatient advocates do not operate in a box. There is no freaking box. Use your right brain. Get creative. You're going to learn a lot here, and you're going to learn a lot when you get out there and start.
It's a little easier for us left-handers to use our right brain.
I remember, I got to tell you, my mentor, this incredible woman who was mine for 35 years. She was known as, she was internationally renowned. And I met her when I was 30, and she saw something in me that I didn't even know was there. Anyway, she and I went to a conference on brain, right brain, left brain. And we were given this giant questionnaire to fill out. It took a couple hours. And then you handed it in, and they would synopsize and draw you a graph of your brain. She and I had almost no left brain. It was seriously lopsided. I was like, all right brain, and a little bit on the left, which of course you need. But get your right brain going. You are creative. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. Trust your creativity. All right. Workspace, dedicated. You all have computers. You're going to need a dedicated telephone. Remember we spoke about Google phone? Okay, we had a dedicated office phone until, what was it, 2 years ago? Something like that?
I think it's been about a year and a half.
Year and a half. So, some bright bulb, undoubtedly not me, it must have been Misty, who said, we don't need this in-house phone. Google has a service which is free, where you can select what phone number you want and use that on your business card, and it will come into your personal phone, but it will announce itself as the Google number. So that will save you money and give you access to a lot. So write that down. Google phone.
Google Voice.
Google Voice, thank you. Google Voice. It's a great service. All right. Service offering. Write down what you would like to offer your patients in detail. Include specific focus areas that you may have. This is where you have to go, what do I really want to do? Do you start out as a generalist practice? I just interrupted somebody.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, you said in the beginning, we're going to take every case and then we sort of narrow it down.
Well, that has worked certainly it helped me. I never did specialize, but a lot of RNPAs start out in the general practice, whatever walks in the door, and you go, thank you for being here. And then you will begin to go, gee, I'd really like to work with onc. I really want to work with newborns. I really want to do this, that, and the other thing. So start out generalist. How many of you are already thinking, gee, I'd like to focus here? Yes, Kristen.
Yeah, I want to focus on patients who have no more options in Western medicine, whether it's they're going to be on this drug, it's the only option on this the rest of your life, and they are like, I want to just see if that's true, second opinions, are there other things going on in other countries that we could do, or people that are just basically like, yeah, like that have just been told there's nothing else we can do, even if it's cancer. Like, I want to be able to research and see, you know, what else is out there and give them that information, because the whole reason I started this is because I think every patient has a right to know what is happening in the world with their disease process and what, you know, what their options are.
I think that's a great idea. Much needed. How many people, particularly older folks, who might have multiple docs, who have them on multiple meds, and they think that's life. And you go, maybe not. Let's take a look. You know, there are so many ways to address that. It's a great idea. Anybody else have an inkling yet of kind of where you're heading?
I kind of like the idea of doing a variety of things because I like researching, I like learning new things. So, you know, I'm gonna keep it pretty open. I currently work for a naturopathic doctor right now, like 1 day a week. And I already several of the patients there, you know, I tell them about how I'm in school, what I'm going to school for. And already several of them like, well, when you start your business, I'll be your patient. When you start your business, I'll be your patient. So.
Excellent. Excellent.
I mean, I even have the doctor I work for calling me up to ask my advice on patient lab values.
Give that man a hug and a kiss. No, don't. But that's wonderful that you have built that rapport and he respects your knowledge and what you're learning. That's critical. That's amazing. Good for you.
Right.
He will be a referral source.
Yeah.
We also have an
I'll refer to
RMPA
him
who
too.
works. Go ahead.
I said, I'll refer to him too, because that's where I'm gonna send everybody to get the, all the IV stuff they need done, or lab testing they need done, or, PRP they need done.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about exactly that. Probably at the residential. How do you get docs referring to you? How do you do that? There's a very specific way and it works. So you've already figured a lot of that out. Good for you.
Yeah.
Anybody else kind of going, well, maybe this, maybe that? Didn't
Maybe,
somebody doing newborns? Wasn't somebody doing newborns?
I mean, someone else was, not me. I work in maternity, but I don't know. No, so that wasn't me. The newborn was, I don't remember.
Stacy's pediatrics.
Okay. Yeah, I was more interested. I think that what I tend to be interested in is like complex health conditions, someone that needs improved communication between their providers and they're kind of lost. They have like a life-changing diagnosis that, they're scared. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to navigate the healthcare system, just.
Right.
There's a lot of people out there that are in that boat.
Yeah. Here's another idea for you before we go into your service offering. And that is case managers who are sent here from heaven and are incredibly overworked. How they even do that year after year is beyond my understanding. Anyway, make an appointment, go on in to one of their meetings and say, here's what I'm doing and here's what I can do to help you. Because you have one patient, they have 40 or 30, whatever stupid number. And anything you can bring to them, they will bow in your general direction and they will refer people to you. So write that down, case managers.
So that's not like a conflict of interest. You can just like, how do you know, number one, how do you know which case manager to find? And then also if you're approaching them, say I approach a case manager at the hospital I work at, wouldn't that be some sort of a conflict of interest in a way?
That's a very good question. Any thoughts?
I want to add something to that, is that I've never just cold call approached a case manager, but when I work with patients, almost invariably I work with the case manager and they see how much easier you make their lives. And they already have your name and your number, they know what you do, and they do refer people.
So you're saying it kind of came to you in that sense. You didn't really just randomly reach out.
It's just more organic, but if you can, then yeah, by all means, go in and meet them. But that's how it worked for me.
As far as a conflict of interest, one of the things that we always recommend is you make an appointment and go speak to the director of nurses, the ADON or whatever they're called, VP nursing, and explain, this is what I am doing and I'm currently working here, but this is something that I'm going into and this is how I would like to approach it. What do you think? Don't do anything undercover.
Without their blessing, or go to the hospital next door, go to the next county or the next city, or if you're in the Bay Area, there's thousands of hospitals.
10 minutes away.
Yeah, but even if you don't have a conflict of interest, going and talking to VP nursing and risk management. First VP nursing, here's what I do. And you ask, what do you want from me? And here's what I can do for you. And one of the big things you can do for them is just say how many people are on most team leaders. Are they looking at the optimal, which is 4, very few do. Are they looking at 6, 8, 10, 12? And just whatever the number is, say they have that many patients. And I have one. which means that I have a whole opportunity to learn much, much more. Everything that I know, your nurse will know, which will make her life much easier. All right, there's a little marketing tip for talking to VP nursing. And then when you talk to, after you set that up, you go talk to risk management and go, here's what I am. I've already spoken with doodly do. And so when I come, what would you like me to do? Shall I go through the nursing supervisor? You want me to go through the vendor office? How do you want me to approach this? And here's what I'm going to need from you. I am going to need access to medical records on the floor, as well as the medical records department. And so in order to ensure that, and every hospital has a different way, and I've never, ever run into a hospital that I haven't been able to finagle went my way in. Big smile. Talk nurse, all right? You all know how to, you're all nurses. Nurses have a language. So you're going to talk to risk. Anyway. So service offering. Part of this is not only what would you like to do, but what are your strengths? Personally and professionally. You don't have to tell me. You should be asking yourself.
Right.
What am I really good at? What gives me pleasure? Because if you're doing or trying to do something that doesn't turn you on, you will not succeed. I tell you that right now. You got to get juiced. This is what I love to do, and I'm good at it. So do that evaluation for yourself. Anybody want to add something here? Shayna, Shawna, Nan.
We have one nurse advocate that works through lawyers for disability cases and helps navigate the patient through the system so that they can get to the right place, so that the lawyer's not getting phone calls every 5 seconds, and helps move them forward to a healthier spot. So that has been a great stream for her. She does quite a few cases with lawyers, and the lawyers pay her to smooth all the ruffles out and get all the doctors on the same page and make their life easier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she's not getting paid by the patient.
Who's doing that, Sean?
Donna Hartelius. She'll come talk to us.
Donna Hartelius.
Oh, that's interesting to me.
Yeah. So there are other ways.
Well, because my niece works in San Jose and she's a disability lawyer, and so is her husband.
Oh, there you go. You need to
Well,
cozy up
I'm
to
right
them.
there.
You're right
There's a
there.
fancy dinner
I'm
coming
right
up,
there.
Paige.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Wow.
remember, not just regular attorneys, like, you know, if you want, we can hook you up with Donna. Not this week, please, and not next week, but we can write down that name, Donna, lawyer.
Donna Hartelius.
Hartelius, Hartelius. Brilliant.
She works
woman.
in Montana in a very, very rural area. She's had some fascinating cases because she calls me every now and then.
Yeah, so if you want, you know, we can connect you, not right now. Anyway, elder law attorneys have any, you know, I certainly have worked with them. They love it. And I'm gonna tell you why they love it. Because they have X number of clients, all old, all chronically ill, and then somebody dies and they lost a client. You go in and go, here's how we operate. We can help keep your people healthier for longer, so your clients have a better health aspect, health outlook, and they get all excited. And then you tell them about the Medicaid. And oh man, I'll tell you what, that was a saving grace, the first one I did, the first elder care attorney. So remember that, elder care attorneys. All right, it's another good connection. So, okay, so back to strengths and weaknesses. Be thinking about how you would like to professionally grow. Now, I suspect you're all pretty clear on that already. You're here. But you're going to want to continue that. And there are a number of different ways that you can do that. But be self-aware. Do any of you have a self-reflective kind of practice? Yeah?
Like meditation or yoga or that kind of thing? Is that what you're asking about, Karen?
Yeah. I've been around a long time, and I'm real aware of the warts that I have on my body. I have quite a few, but I also have a lot of really good stuff going on. But it pays to know where your weak spots are, as well as your strengths. And if you haven't done an assessment of that in the last 10 years, you might want to do that. Because the more aware you are of your strengths and weaknesses, the more you can build on those strengths and help to develop the weaknesses. Does that make sense? Obviously not. Come on. All right, goals. Here we go. Financial, professional, and emotional. You know, if I could interrupt for a minute, Misty, there's one particular homework that I would like to draw your attention to. And this is Christina Subia. If you would be willing for me to pull that up, because I want to show them what you did in this area.
Okay.
Ooh, Christina.
No, you don't have to say yes. That's why I'm asking and not just doing it. Would you be comfortable with that?
Yeah, that's okay. Because
Okay.
I could use input from other people too, so.
Okay. Hold on. My magic Misty is finding it. Nope. Okay, here we go. Can y'all see that? Marketing plan, situation analysis, doodly do, home situation, and what you want to offer your patients, scope and standards. Here we go. What are your goals? Fall into 3 sections. Financial. You want to read this, Christina?
Okay, well, I have to be able to at least break even on the cost to run a business for the first year. I know that it'll take time to build a clientele and that new businesses don't always show a profit in the first year. As my business grows, I hope to see a good enough profit to do pro bono work.
Fantastic.
Okay. All right. Professional goals. I was just very impressed with, I mean, you obviously spent a lot of time thinking about this. What professional goals?
To establish myself as a trusted patient advocate in the medical community in my area, to improve each of my clients' health conditions and help them to reach their goals, to continue learning and sharing health information with clients and the general public, and to give at least 3 or 4 public health presentations. I'm hoping that I don't freeze when I do that. So that's a big goal for me.
All right. You do know about Toastmasters, right?
Yeah, I need to look into that.
Yeah, Toastmasters, that, you know, that is a risk-free zone. It's really helpful if you're not used to getting up and, you know, speaking with passion and knowledge, then go see Toastmasters. Okay, emotional goals.
So that's gain confidence in public speaking, gain confidence as an RNPA, fulfillment of a job well done, and peace of mind that my clients are getting the best care possible.
Okay, Now, I think it took a great deal of courage for you to answer this next one. I will read it. Identify any current emotional challenges. I want to know if anybody else has these challenges also. Christina, Christina, this took guts, self-doubt and courage. Is there anyone else who has emotional challenges of self-doubt? Am I good enough? Do I know enough? Can I actually do this?
Is there anyone who does not?
There you go.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be here if you didn't have some of
We
those.
all do. We
Yeah.
all do.
It is to be human.
And
But it
courage.
makes it, I want to say that it makes it even more sweet that, you know, when you do a great job and your client's like, oh my gosh, you saved my life, or thank you so much. It makes it even more sweet because you bypassed your fear. You felt the fear and you did it anyway. And now look at you.
Yeah, that would be something. That's kind of how I approached nursing in the first place. I was scared to do nursing because this is like my second career. So to even accomplish that was something. And it just, once I got started, I just wanted more and more. So here I am still learning and
Fantastic.
It took courage to come to this program.
yeah, that's for sure.
We all know that. We also all know self-doubt. You think I didn't have a little self-doubt when I started 10 years ago? It's like, what? You're doing what? Okay, good, Karen. Anyway, so financial, professional, and emotional goals. So financial, what you have to meet within a year. So what are some of you looking at? Are you going to work part-time? Most RNPAs have to start out part-time and then morph into full-time. Some don't have to. They have another income in the house, and so they're able to go full-tilt boogie to develop this. What do some of you want to accomplish, need to accomplish financially in the first year? Sally?
I think I
I
like.
haven't called on you yet.
Even. I think
Breaking
that's the
even?
goal, to break even.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that is a good financial goal. So that you at least know that you're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, and that means budgeting, and you're going to be working after the business 2 classes. You're going to be working with a gentleman by the name of Rick Dawkins, and he is going to talk about budgeting. How do you plan your money? Okay. Anybody else, financial obligations that you're looking at in the first year?
Goals, you mean?
Yeah. What do you, that need to be accomplished? What do you want to see accomplished financially in your first year?
Probably break even sounds like it's the consensus with a lot of us. It's really difficult to know what to expect, what the reaction from the public's going to be.
Okay.
You know, it's the unknown. You know,
Well,
are you have not too many people, you know, come up to you, or you're going to get a really good response? A deluge of phone calls. I just don't know. I guess it depends on what you put out there.
During your
That's
peak,
right.
Karen, like how many patients would you have in a month? Like what's the most number of clients you'd have in a given month?
that's a great question. It depends on acuity. There have been, like one of the leaders of the Human Genome Project, believe it or not, his mother was my client. And she had been, they nearly killed her. They were seriously trying to kill her. And he had come to town to help his mom. And one of the neighbors said, you should call Karen. Here's what she's doing. And he did. So that was seriously high acuity. I mean, this woman, why she wasn't dead already is beyond me. She was coding like 2 times a day. It was horrible. Anyway, so that's the only patient I did for 3 weeks. And then at other times, I had as many as 11. Most of them were what I call watch the doors. You keep an eye on them. You might go to a doctor's appointment or help them prepare questions. They're not a high acuity. They don't need a lot, but they do need what you can offer. And so, but most of the time I had 6 or 7 going, unless I had a really high acuity.
Were you working another job at the same time? I forgot if you said, if you're working
No.
part-time.
No, I jumped in. I didn't have a lot of savings. I certainly didn't have anyone investing except my sister, who gave me $1,500. Thank you, Nancy. I just jumped. I ate up my savings. Everything that I had went into developing this. It was the only way I knew to do it. And I was already sick and tired of clinical. I wasn't going back there. They'd fire me in 5 minutes. So that's how I did it. Now, is that how all of you are going to do it? No. You're going to do what's best for you. Okay. How many hours you need to work to meet your financial goals? This is a little bit of an iffy because, and I believe we've mentioned this before, when you're doing data mining and background research globally for your clients, you're not going to be real fast in the beginning. So what I did, because I knew I wasn't fast, I was like, how do I do this? I charged them half. I worked 10 hours, I charge them for 5. That's something that you may wish to do unless you're already like ding dong, you're really great at data mining. You know, maybe you are, I don't know. But you might consider that. And what measures you're able to put in place in the event of unexpected expenses. This is part of your business plan, and you're going to learn a lot more about that next week. Okay, business plan. You're going to create a business plan, and you're going to learn how next week with an expert. Okay, so professional goals, we went over a little bit. Emotional goals, current emotional challenges. I'm going to tell you what mine were. Fear. Nobody in the country was doing this. Nobody's going, good job, Karen. Nobody. And so I was afraid. I had a great deal of anxiety. Can I do this? And self-doubt. However, I am a risk taker and I'm not terribly shy, and I just did it, you know, one patient at a time. My very first patient was a lady that they were seriously trying to kill, and she didn't have money. So I was a docent at the time, an instructor at the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum. And our group, our Saturday group, pulled out their wallets and everybody put together some money for Karen. It was $400. And I said, thank you very much. That was my first kind of pro bono. I mean, I worked a lot more than what $400 bought. Anyway, so you will have your own challenges. We are here for you. How many of you have called me and not gotten what you called me for? I've talked to a whole lot of you already. Okay.
I'm a data whiz. I'm a data whiz. So sometimes Donna or some of them will call and say, I don't have time for this. Can you give me 3 articles on X? Like, here.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Remember, you're not out there alone. You are a member of a national network of RN patient advocates. You are, and you will remain so for 3 months after the program ends. Should you wish to continue, then you certainly can. If you wish to exit, then that's your privilege as well. So who's your target audience? Now are we gonna get, we may run over. Is that okay? I mean, because we've been spending a lot of time on this, because it deserves a lot of time. Your target audience, who are your clients? This refers back to what do you want to do? What's your service offering? What your service offering is going to help you target your audience. Does that make sense? At least shake your heads. Come on.
They are.
Okay. You have two primary markets, your patients and their families and friends. And I will tell you, years after I had taken care of some of my clients, I was getting them referring patients. And I think every RNPA has experienced that to some degree. You do a really good job, man. They are going to sing your praises everywhere. And they will be a referral base for you. And medical providers are also an excellent provider. You know, you've already found that, Donna, you know, with the naturopath with whom you're working. We will be going over, spending more time. How do you do this? All right. The public, I want to read this because it speaks to the issue. The public is in dire need of what we can do for them. Once I started, all of a sudden, there's all these other places teaching you how to be a patient advocate, none of them based in science, none of them had a process, none of them had the connections, none of them were based in academia as well as clinical. All right. So it's our job to communicate what we do differently. And people need what we have. Remember that. You need them, they need us. All right. Make sure that those you target understand that your service is self-pay. Oh, how do you do that? That's part of screening. And during the residential, we're going to show you what a real screening looks like. We're going to show you the template. We're going to show you how to do it. And then you're going to do a return demonstration. Screening is all important. You might think that everybody needs an advocate. Well, P.S., not everybody can afford one of us. And if you don't have space in your case file for pro bono, then there are other ways that you can serve the public. And I was just talking, who was I talking to about this? Paige. I was talking to you about it the other day, about different ways that you can serve, like with a 4-hour service. I mean, we can talk more about that, not right now, but they need to understand that this is not free and insurance doesn't cover it. And I'd like you to tell me seriously why insurance does not cover this. Because they're going to ask you.
What would your response be then? Because you don't want to, what if they're like really pro Western medicine? They just want help, but they don't know, you know, they don't know, they're just clueless as to, you know, they trust their doctor, they're old school. And then you say, well, they want you to be sick, you know, you don't want to throw all that up because then they might say, wait, they're too extreme for me, you know, you might turn some people off, you know, so how would you word it?
Okay, how about anybody else? What would you say? They go, what do you mean insurance doesn't cover it? Because you're going to ask for a deposit as well.
And I think you can spin it around to, you know, talking about how you're a non-biased, person in the process that is coming to help them as that, being patient-centered. And so insurance doesn't cover it because I'm not working for the insurance company. I mean, that's essentially because they do have some people that they consider patient advocates that work for insurance companies, but you and I would never call them that.
Right, right.
Well, if they bring that up, and they will, not all of them, but some will, my response is they're working for the insurance company, not you.
Right. They're trying to save the insurance company money. And
Yeah.
that may not be in your best interest at this
I mean,
point.
even in the hospitals, they're really, I know, because I worked in administration, you guys know, because you worked in the hospitals, they're there to watch you. They're there to keep this out of a legal situation. They're
Yep.
there to sweep whatever they can under the rug and move on.
Yeah, they're Band-Aid people.
Yeah.
They may put out little fires, but they're working for the hospital. They're not working for you. So a response to why doesn't insurance cover is because insurance does not cover advanced medical approaches. Depending upon with whom I'm speaking, I may go into the fact that globally there has been an incredible amount of research in genetics, in new types of medications and treatments, in integrative medicine. Everybody's heard about integrative. Don't mention functional because they don't know what that is. And insurance doesn't cover this. Insurance is a partner of big pharma. Big pharma is in it for the billions. And the last, and you have to check your data on this, but I read an article the other day. Health insurance in the last quarter made $3 billion, top, right off the top. They're about money. And how you can express that to your client will depend upon your client and your relationship with that individual. But it is essential. And we're going to practice this as the residential, okay? Screening, that kind of screening. So they need what we have. They need it. So targeted conversations, speaking engagements, we already went over all of this. Remember that it's women who make most of the healthcare choices. Yeah, that's who you need to be addressing. Let people know that you're the information resource. Like when you're talking to the program chairman of the organizations that you learned about from Chamber. Oh, okay. Oh, no, you have to go? No. Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you, Misty.
Where was I?
Another way to get your name out there is to get in touch with the whoever is the health writer in your local area that writes about health at the newspaper or for community organizations. When they know that you know about health things and you're willing to speak when they have an issue, they will call you for information and get your name out there.
Yeah, that happened to me I think I'd been in practice for 2 years and I was beginning to strut my stuff just a little. And so I called the health editor at our local paper and I said, my name is, and this is a new practice model for nursing. Let me tell you about it. Well, she sent out a reporter and a photographer, and I had an amazing article written about the work that our patient advocates do. And the following week, I could have used a team of 10 or 15 RPAs. I mean, there was no way I could even do this much, but the interest is there. So thank you, Shawna. That's a great idea. Contact your health reporter in your local paper. It's a great idea. We've already talked about which patients you want to target. We've talked about acuity, how many you can do, what are watch the doors. And it says, list those patients that you are unwilling to have in your practice. Go ahead, tell me, who do you not want?
Not want.
I don't really want like complex psychological or psych issues. I feel like that's not my forte, and I definitely don't want that.
Very insightful. I don't take them either. I don't know enough.
I don't either.
I don't really want a lot of family drama. Like if siblings don't agree with, you know, the care that their parents receiving, for example, as an NPA, I don't want to be in the middle of it.
All right. I will say that one of the things that we will be talking about in the residential is family dynamics and how do you manage it? I have been in situations where they were going, that, and you learn how to deal and come out in a positive way. Now, there are some families that are so irreparably broken, there's nothing you can really do. But we can address this more. That's a very good point, Suzanne. Thank you. What else would you not want?
I don't want cases that are mostly about figuring out hospital billing and insurance reimbursements. That's hours on the phone, getting nowhere. I don't want to deal with that.
We have people that specialize in that, and you can connect them up.
Good.
Definitely.
Yeah, go to a site called Advo Connection.
Yep.
And there are billing advocates, and
Yep.
they keep up with the daily changes in health remuneration, health, insurance. You can't be good at everything.
Right.
We're good at clinical. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Don't try to keep up with the financial because you can't. They change all the time.
I tend to get calls from a friend of someone who needs to sue.
Ah.
I try and get them done in 5 minutes. I have a list of resources and I head them off to someone else because that I don't know. You don't want to send those to your friends. You want to send those to people you don't know, to big general organizations.
Yeah.
The lawyer clearinghouse, that kind of thing, because some of them, you can hear it in their voice. They're going to sue, and that means they're going to sue you too. And
that's a very good point. Thank you.
That's a bailiwick for me.
That's a real good one.
Because they're angry already. They want to go after someone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Some people are just litigious happy. They
are. That's another thing that's important to think about and know about. Some clients will call and say, I have had a disastrous event with this doctor and that doctor and the other doctor and the other doctor and this other doctor. And it's important to listen well and hear, is it something they're doing that makes this difficult with all of their providers? And they may make it very difficult for you as well. That's another thing I listen for is, well, they don't listen, nobody listens to me. And it's something about the way they present themselves that they get the shut door so frequently, or the big red hand. And they're difficult to work with. And you have to make a choice if that's something you want to, you might do a short trial as opposed to a big commitment to them.
One of the things that I encountered, remember I told you about the human genome guy. He was in the administrator's office and I had been called there also. I hadn't taken the case yet. And he was going to sue his grandmother's dog. I mean, he was going to sue everybody. And so I'm going, for the very reason that Shawna said. But here's what I did. And it worked with this guy. Maybe it wouldn't work for everybody. I asked for a private room where Dr. Duda and I could speak. And I shut the door and I said, talk to me. Tell me what's really going on.
Right.
I let that go on for like 10 or 12 minutes. And I said, look, you obviously want to sue. If you move in that direction, then I will make certain you have all the paperwork, but I will not go through that with you. That is not my role. But I'll tell you what, doctor, your mom may die today. I suggest we go down there and do everything possible to save her life. So I redirect, you acknowledge Yeah. You engage, you acknowledge, and you redirect.
Set a plan. With
Does that
some
make
limits.
sense? It's called EAR. Everybody I talked to, yeah, I told you about EAR. Engage, acknowledge, redirect. Don't do what you don't want to do. One thing that showed up, we had a group practice going here until I started doing too many classes. And one of the members of the group practice had this patient who was a drug addict. Although he didn't think he was a drug addict. And so he did a lot of drug-seeking behavior with his various docs, and he expected the RMPA to do drug-seeking right along with him. So what we did then is we included, and we had an attorney write an addendum to our contract that we do not take that type of case. Do not, that is a sinking hole.
Will not support that, yeah.
It goes beyond our expertise, just like with the psych stuff. Unless you are an addiction trained individual, I suggest don't get in that. Don't get in that.
On that note, then how do you fire a client or, you know?
Oh, great. Wonderful. Thank you
Yes.
for that question. Well, I'll tell you, know, I've got stories out the wazoo. I had this client who was in his 60s and he had been diagnosed with stage 3 or 4 esophageal cancer. And he had never been in charge of his healthcare. His wife was in charge of him, his healthcare, everything. He was like her child, although cognitively he was not impaired. And I wasn't going to be able to do anything about that. But what I did do is find out what he would like to do. If you could do one thing, Mr. Duda, what would you like to do? And he said, I want to go fishing again. I said, great, let's see how we can make that happen. And I gave steps. He refused to do all of it. I mean, this took place over a couple of weeks. This wasn't like one conversation. And I said, I will have to let you go because obviously your wife can't do all this for you. And you are not in a position personally to do this for yourself. So I wish you very well. And you always give them resources in the community you might want to contact, doodly do. And I just signed off. Some patients become so demanding and so difficult to deal with that you have to let them go and you have to tell them why. It's not comfortable. The first time you do it, you'll get better at it. Just because you've signed on with somebody doesn't mean you're with them for life. They're your dad.
I haven't had the experience, but my suggestion would be to put it in writing as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Because people are litigious.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so referral sources, we've already talked about a lot about that. And strategy, what are your first steps to take? You're going to want to talk to either Small Business Development Center or SCORE. Do you all know what SCORE is? Okay, Service Corps of Retired Executives. And every larger community has a SCORE organization. And so you can call and say, look, who do you have who's familiar with the health industry? You know, and you can find out who, and then you call them. And as Shawna mentioned earlier, this Small Business Development Center, which is an offshoot of SBA, Small Business Administration, is in almost every community college. I think it cost me $15 to start. Everything else was free. God bless their socks. I could not have begun without them because I knew nothing. Pretty much what most of you feel right now. It's like, I don't know. So you're going to work with experts. All right.
And SBC or SBDC has a 12-week class, next level or something like that. They have a name for it, but you can go and a seasoned business professional will go through insurance and all the legal manifestations. They'll go through the whole set. If you can't do it yourself, you can go in and do weekly assignments with someone if you need that kind of direction.
They even helped me write my first business plan.
Absolutely. They have people that are experts at it. Yeah.
So remember, reach out. You don't know? Good. Recognize that you
Resources,
don't know
Look
and
it
reach
up.
out for help.
Yeah.
I would never been able to get started without that kind of assistance. Okay. Execution, get a calendar, schedule your first 2 months and determine how much time you can spend on marketing. I will tell you this, you're going to do a heck of a lot more marketing in the very beginning than you're going to when you have a successful practice. As we've mentioned before, please do not buy pens and papers and take out ads in the local paper. It's a waste of money. Ask me how I know. Ask me how much money I wasted. Please don't do that. Personal connections, getting out there, meeting people, talking with people. That's how you do it. Everybody gives pens. Yeah. I mean, I went to a lot of health fairs and that's something that you may wish to do as well. Typically costs about 75 to $100 to show up. And anybody who wants to do that, give one of us a call and we'll go over some tips with you. But for one of mine, I ordered $1,500 worth of bags that said RN Patient Advocates with my phone number on it. Total waste of money. People would come by my desk and they'd pick up a bag and they're gone. And I've just wasted a whole bunch of money. Don't do that. So you want to mark down your goals for marketing. Yeah. And review, as Shawna mentioned earlier, and Nan and Shayna, review your marketing plan. What's working, what's not. How are you going to track what's working? If you don't know how to do that, ask somebody who does know. You're not expected to know all this stuff, bingo. If you don't know, ask for help. All right. So review your marketing plan, have an expert go over it with you. Sound planning, as Chris says here, sound planning creates success. Here's a little story. This is how she got Bosch and Lone. She had already connected with their administration and told them how wonderful she was and what she could do for them. And they allowed her to set up an appointment with their marketing division. And she went for the appointment and she was walking to the office and somebody was coming out of the office and there was a snake in the path. This was in Florida and there was an actual snake between them in the path. And both of them went, ah! And they said, and it was an immediate connection. Oh my God, where that snake came from? Oh, I'm Chris. And blah, blah, blah. You never know what's going to happen. Expect the unknown and be ready to capitalize on it. All right. Understanding traditional advertising in the internet. Your practice will be built on how well you do positive relationships. How good are you? Do you know how to do that? I expect an answer.
At positive relationships?
Yeah. Professionally.
Professionally, I feel like I'm pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it's interpersonal communication. It's how you relate to the person and get your point across in a way that makes them like, oh, okay. And that makes them understand and makes them feel good about the information that they're getting, feel comfortable with you.
Okay, so
Like,
it's
they don't-
about them.
It's about, yeah, I mean, you make it about them so that they feel like they're the most important person in the world, that you're talking to them. It's hard to-
And how do you do that? How do you let them know that, I mean, and this is not going to be verbal, this is your approach, so that they know that they are the center of your attention?
eye
What are you
contact.
going to do internally to ensure that you're actually present?
Active listening.
Yeah.
Active listening.
Yes, eye contact, active listening, nodding your head. You know, when they're talking, you just give your undivided attention, and then you kind of summarize so you're telling me that you're looking for yada yada, you know, and then like, oh, she's listening to me, and it gives them a positive impression of you.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. You might want to reflect. Remember, you've all learned about reflective communication. If I hear you correctly, what I'm hearing is la, 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 la. And that's exactly what Paige just said. Then they know you're actually listening. And you're making certain that you're hearing correctly. Because maybe you're not. It has to be all about them.
And call them by their name. People like that.
Yeah. Don't be thinking about who you have to do next, what you're going to do next Tuesday, what you're going to have for dinner. I'm really tired. I don't want to be here, but this is a good thing for business. So I'm going to be, I mean, all of this doodah that goes in your head, stick it in a drawer. It'll still be there. Be
I think
present.
people can tell if you don't care. I think if you care, all this other stuff is going to fall into place. And I think we go into this because we care and we want to make people's lives better, you know, so
Read your energy.
absolutely. I know when I'm talking to someone and they don't give a shit, right? Don't we know? When you're talking to someone and they're like, yeah. You know, right? You know, so care. And if you don't care, then don't do it.
Right. It's all about, people do pay attention to mannerisms and tone. So you have to present yourself a certain way or else you've lost them.
Yeah, and you're not getting them back.
Yeah.
Okay. As I mentioned, Tina Subia, I thought did an amazing job. I did not have the opportunity to read everyone's marketing plan. Tina, congratulations. You did a great job. You really
Thank
did.
you. I
Now,
appreciate-
Nan, you were telling us about another standout that you noticed.
Yeah, I thought you had a really good one too, Kristen. I thought yours was great because you addressed each thing and you had a really good situation analysis. Like you really know your town, which I think really helps, you know. And I liked the way you broke it all down, and especially what you would not offer. I thought that was good. Like, you know, that you knew right away that like, I'm not going to offer this and I'm not going to offer that. So, and what you did offer and what you don't are very then clear to the patient right up front. And the things that you did offer, I thought were broad. And so there was a lot of things there that would appeal to me, like hospital bedside monitoring or pain management, or caregiver support, shared decision making. Those are all subjects that I thought really helped, you know, wow, that's something I think I need, you know, I almost was ready to call you. So
Kristen, would you be comfortable if we pull up part of yours as well?
Yeah, that's fine.
You sure?
yeah, and she had a great calendar too for 2 months. She has it all down what she's going to do between 9 and 3 every single day.
I'm an overachiever.
So,
What can I say?
yeah, it was good though. It
All
helps, it helps when you show people that have sort of a broad idea or an idea, at least we're on the right path. Do you know what I mean? And it may get even more narrow as you go along. It's like you're a blueprint for something. It's like your rough draft, you know, your rough draft is never your final draft. Whoops, mosquito. And
Misty, you left prematurely. Now I have to find this other one. Oh, God, I'm just.
go
here.
up to the top, Karen.
Maybe Kristen can.
Oh, okay. Kristen, screen share what you did.
If possible.
I have, I was gonna say, I have a question while we were pulling this up.
Okay.
Sure.
Where do you buy your insurance from? Where do you find that? And how much is that?
Oh, what a good question. Professional insurance, the best place, in fact, the only insurance provider that was willing to talk to me 20 years ago, because like I was doing something nobody else was Nurse Service Organization.
NSO, right.
NSO, and I still recommend them. Let them know you're going to be doing education. You're not doing hands-on. Make sure they knew that. That will raise your profile money-wise very high.
Right.
So,
And some others, I'm pretty sure Donna got her private insurance agent to cover her in some fashion or manner. In a different way. So there are others that have used their regular insurance professional to cover them. But
Okay.
NSO is what most of us use.
yeah.
And it's
Okay.
not that expensive. It's not as expensive as you think it was.
Well, it depends on where you live.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
rural areas, it may be as low as 175 to 200, 225. Here in Tucson, it's 350 to 375. And-
California was more than that. For me, it was
Yeah.
closer to 5
yeah, it depends on
or
where you live.
something.
Nan, you had pointed out in our earlier conversation some things about Kristen's. I'm trying to move it. Can't do it, Karen. Would you point out?
Yeah, Kristen, you share it. You move it on down. And so she had maps, like go up and show some of those maps that you had, because you even had where landfills were.
Yeah.
And you even had where hazardous waste sites were, and the TRI facilities in Houston. So I wasn't sure about what that meant.
Yeah, what is TRI?
It's where they have a known chemical ingredient that's been delivered into the environment, and it has to be reported. So
Wow.
I wanted to put this because the type of patient that I'm going for. I also put my poverty distribution, and then this other one has more of like where the people that have money, I hate to say it, but where there's more privilege in the city.
Absolutely.
And then
We
this
have
is like-
RNPAs that live in a rural area and practice 2 sections away in the more affluent community where they can find patients. And they made that choice on purpose because of these kinds of sets of data.
Yeah. And then just a list of things I still need.
And a business license. We haven't talked about that yet.
No, but they're going to cover that with SCORE. Okay.
Okay.
That's business.
And but I thought that let's look at your service offerings. Those what I thought were really really nice. Diagnosis and treatment review and recommendations. Right. And there's, like I said, there's quite the menu there. I felt like I was.
Yeah, you're moving too fast. Hold on, slow down.
Yeah, it felt like I was in a restaurant.
Yeah, go back.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah, give me a chance to read it.
So a lot of these I got from Kathy did another patient advocacy program where they had just a bunch of service offerings listed, and she gave us the document. And so a lot of these I got from there to give me an idea of what other advocates are doing, what I want to do versus what I don't want to do. Because there were quite a few things, like I don't want to work, I know this sounds terrible, but I don't want to work with pregnant women. I don't want to work with newborns. That was my least favorite rotation in school.
Right.
And it continues to be my least favorite area of expertise. I also put that I didn't want to do mental health or substance abuse services, nursing care. I don't want to do insurance negotiations, workers' comp or disability. Also weight loss coaching, because I want to just make sure that we're doing like we're looking for root causes. I don't want to spend time just coaching on symptoms.
That is
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of? I mean, she dove in the deep end here.
I think it's really thoughtful. I think
Yeah.
it's like chess. You're thinking 3-4 steps ahead. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah,
So
I think it was real.
through the list of don't want to, that's where you're going to find the resources to send people to. So you're going to say, if you're looking for workers' comp or disability filings and reviews, you may want to contact your senator. You may want to contact your congressperson. You may want to contact this lawyer that might be in town, or a good disability lawyer that you've heard through the grapevine someone is good at. An easy way to get those people off when they call you for that 20 minutes is to have resources to send to them.
Good point.
I don't
Well,
know.
thank you.
I
Thank-
like the fact that you want to make 60 grand your first year too.
Awesome.
I do. My husband.
Hold on. How much are you going to charge per hour?
Well, see, that's funny that you like this, because my husband looked at this and said, this needs a lot of work. I'm taking it to work this week and I'm going to work on this, because if you're going to make 60,000, then you need to crunch some numbers. I need to know how many patients you want, I mean, he's a sales guy. He's like a regional sales manager. So
Right.
he is like working on all that for me. I'm like, perfect.
Let's work it backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants
Yes.
to work it
What are
backwards.
you going to charge?
Well, we talked about it yesterday. I think that we're looking at two different ways. Either he doesn't like the idea of me cutting my hours in half. He would rather me start charging less upfront so that we don't have to worry about, so when I'm a novice, so that he can stay and manage the money coming in and not have to cut things off the back. But again, he runs like a multi-billion-dollar company, or not million-dollar company. So he's thinking a little bit bigger than me. But I'm looking forward to whatever he comes back with and discussing it. So
Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing.
That's a tremendous resource, Kristen, to have him on your team.
oh
Because
yeah,
we're selling ourselves, that's all we have is us. And we give our clients here we are. So if you can sell yourself, I think you're going to make your 60 grand plus.
yeah.
And I agree. Like at first we're like a nebulous, you're thinking, I think I'm going to be this and I think I'm going to be that. But when you come up with this plan and then you actually put a goal out there of what you're going to accomplish, it becomes a more firm base. It becomes a something really that you can build on.
Beautiful job.
Thank you.
Really well done.
Okay, you can let that screen share go. Thank you. Branding, we talked about branding last week, and you are creating your brand. I mean, RNPA has a brand nationally. We're in more than half of the states. RNPA is known nationally. But you are going to be your brand. How's that sound? Consistency is part of branding. Loyalty to your clients, loyalty to your providers, loyalty to your goals and objectives, loyalty to yourself. I learned long ago that I call it speaking from here. I don't know if you can, speaking from here. When I'm speaking with someone, I'm there. And I'm not thinking about something else. And I'm telling the truth. And I'm really letting them have it because I'm all excited about this stuff. And, you know, that's how you begin to build your brand. Being there, being passionate, expanding your knowledge base all the time. That's how you build your brand. Here's something else. A very big no-no. No politics, no religion. That will narrow your base. It will make you come across as opinionated. And what if somebody in their family said, well, she sounds like an idiot. No politics, no religion. Can you wrap your heads around that? For me, it's a little difficult because I'm very focused on politics right now. So it's real hard for me to keep my mouth shut about that, but it will do no one any good if I just go, well, here's what I think. If you ask me, I may tickle it a little, but no more than that. No religion, no politics. That's not science. Science, guys, science. We are science nurses. Okay, I think we're out of time. We've covered most everything. Building relationships and trust, be fully present. We've talked about making it all about them. Is this beginning to feel doable? This marketing plan and all that it involves? Is it, yeah, I think I could do that. Does it feel a little more doable, interesting, exciting? This is how you're going to make it happen, guys. Go over this information if you have not yet done.
It was really helpful to see how the other people's marketing plans looked. It was really, they did a really good job. I thought it was really helpful to see kind of how they put it together.
Yeah, I'm sorry we don't have time to review all of the plans, but we all thought that it was more important that we cover all the big points, all the big points. But if you have not already done it, go to the cafe and read what everybody else posted. Please remember, what we are doing is unique in all the land. We are based on science, not opinion, not politics, not religion.
Not preference.
Not preference. Most of you have no idea what I like and what I don't like, other than what I tell you on here. Yeah. What's important to me, what's not important to me, how I run my life. I don't go into those things with you because it's irrelevant, you know, and that's not what I do as an RMPA. Science, guys, follow the science. All right. Anything else? Any thoughts? Any questions?
I wonder if it would be helpful to write down your fears and concerns, and we can address that either on a Zoom session or in Tucson. You know, we're all in the same boat. There's nothing that you're feeling that either we don't feel or we haven't felt. And so if you want to do that, we're more than happy to work that through with you.
Thank you. That's a really good plan. You want to know what I'm afraid of? You don't have to say yes. I don't know.
Karen, what are you afraid of?
I am afraid that I'm not giving enough, that I'm not giving enough. We at RNPA are invested in your success, and anything that we can do to help you,
We do.
we will do.
It's fine.
So that's pretty much my only fear. That and, you know, all the 9,000 admin things. Thank you, Misty. You know, and our team, that's difficult. If you've never put together a program like this, you don't really know what goes into it. I do know what it goes into, what you put into it. And that's what's really important here, what you put into it.
It's almost comical, Karen, that you feel like you're not giving enough. It's like literally you give every ounce of who you are.
I agree. I think this program is really good, and you always manage to bring everybody out, like me. I don't like to speak out a lot, and you know that, and you focused on me, so it helped.
Well, you would not be in this class if you did not pass a major test. That being the questionnaire and talking to me for an hour, hour and a half. That was a lot. That was a test. I didn't tell
Don't
you
go
that.
away from this program with questions unanswered.
Yeah.
You know, or concerns unaddressed. You
Okay.
don't need to do that. We'll deal with anything and everything.
So, next week, part 1 of business, an actual step 1, step 2, step 3. Come prepared with paper and pencil, huh?
So bring your notepad.
Yeah, exactly. And then the following week is part 2. And following that is finance. And following that is, you're talking to RNPAs who are in business. Some of them you're going to talk to them about business. The other ones you're going to talk about how do they actually run a clinical practice. You know, well, it's a joy, truly. Thank you all for participating. I think we're done for today, unless anyone would like something additional. I think we've covered all the main points. But if you want to talk about more, well, contact us. We're pretty good at returning calls, I think, you know, or answering emails. All right, guys, thank you. Shayna, Shawna, and Nan, if you would kind of hang on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great week, y'all.
Bye, you too.
Ah,
Turn off the recording.
yeah.